Hello, friends. This is Jay Hendricks with Powerful Thought Daily. Today, I wanted to talk with you about 8 tips for happiness. I have a little outline right here. What I would suggest is I'll list these 8 tips and some notes under them. And what you can do as a suggestion is you can practice one of these tips each month. So basically, you would take the first tip and you'd practice that and explore that and experiment with that for a whole month. And then the next month you could add the second tip on top of what you learned already in the first month and practice that second. So you're synthesizing the steps as you go. And I guarantee that by the end of the 8 months, your life will be happier and it will change. So let's get into it. 8 tips for happiness. The first tip would be become acquainted with and then certain of your conscience. Ask yourself questions. Surrender to the answers that bubble up by thinking them, speaking them, or writing them down. Act on intuition and search for answers. Follow your intuition to find answers. See different perspectives through multiple lenses and make connections. If you find something is true or seems to be true, look at it from another perspective. Is it psychologically, does it work psychologically? Does it work philosophically? Does it work in human relationships? Does it work in science and biology? Does it work in electricity? You can use all of these lenses, and the more lenses it's true through, the more likely it is true. So, the second tip, learn to firmly trust in and rely on your conscience. Learn to firmly trust in and rely on your conscience. Always seek to tell yourself and others the truth, even if it's painful. Try to be tactful and compassionate when telling the truth, because the truth can hurt. And if you can't trust yourself, then you're going to just have a wall of illusion around your conscience, and you won't have access to it. Okay, tip number 3, gain assurance in the abilities and qualities of your conscience. As you develop a relationship with your conscience, you can start to unfold and become aware of what it can do, what it knows that you don't, which is really saying what you know that you don't know. It's a series of realizations. So you'll have to discover those things for yourself. Okay, now as you've developed a good relationship with your conscience, you can move on to tip number 4. Allow your conscience to inspire morally right and fair behavior. And then the result of that is courage and fearlessness that will help you act and speak truth despite the negative reactions of others. So the stronger your relationship is with your conscience and your intuition, the more fearless and courageous you become. So in other words, we're kind of building a confidence, a divine confidence that comes from doing the work and becoming familiar with your internal divinity, which is your conscience. Now, the 5th step would be gain a full understanding of situations. So now that you have your conscience in place and you're able to act with it and you're able to behave in the right way, and now you can, through practicing meditation, you can become more aware of what's going on around you and behind the scenes of what you see all the time. So you have this conscience in place, you're practicing meditation, and now you can start to gain a full understanding of situations. Whether they're negative or positive, you don't really judge them. You gain awareness of what's really going on. Now, the sixth step would be recognize and enjoy the good qualities of someone or something. So, you're now seeing good in all things. Even evil acts, they are evil, and evil exists, of course. But you can start to see the good that is coming from the evil situations. Because there's always good everywhere, you just have to be able to see it. I mean, look at the big changes that happened in World War II. A lot of evil acts and genocide at that time. But maybe the good in that is, well, the earth was changing and we had to try out all of these different ideologies to see what would work before we moved on to a higher civilization, which we are in right now. And so, yes, it was lots of death and evil and horrible atrocities, but the result is we as humanity learned more and were able to progress further in our government, in our laws, in our ideas. So there is good in all things, as long as you're seeing it from the right perspective. Okay. So, now that you can see the good in all things, number 7, balance the duality of striving and surrendering. And I've talked about this in my previous video about Jordan Peterson, and then my video before that about how to tread the middle path. And so I went into further depth in that. But basically any duality, every single duality out there, there's a balance point between them. That is the truth. And we can operate from this point of balance, just like when you're riding a bike. Instead of trying to force the bike to stay up, when you're learning to ride a bike, you can balance on it and realize that, oh, if I stay balanced and this bike hinges off of me, then I can stay up. So that's how we should approach dualities. You have to have that play in the wheel, in driving, and riding a bike. You have to have a play in these dualities while you stay balanced at the center. So the balance of striving and surrendering. I would say striving is more of the theme of Western thought, and surrendering is more of the theme of Eastern thought. So if you want to distill these grand ideas down into everyday living, you can learn to strive and surrender at the same time. So striving would be making great effort towards things consistently. And surrendering would be resisting or ceasing to resist. So can we make great effort consistently and cease to resist things? I think we can. And we can combine those two into one practice and have that play in whatever side we're favoring, just like riding a bike, while we stay balanced at the center. So, continually strive to solve problems and cease to resist the results of those strivings. So, if you fail, seek to detach from that. If you succeed, seek to detach from that. So detach from the results, but still continually solve problems. Okay, and then the final step. Step number 8. Tip number 8. Cease to think of or consider the essential being that distinguishes you from others. So learn to know that you are an immortal individual, or at least believe that, because it is true. But seek to understand that and know that for yourself, that you are an immortal individual, that nothing can destroy that individable duality that you are. the individuality that you are. And once you know that, now forget it and focus on the needs of others. If you can do that, that is the capstone to happiness. So, just as a summary, quick summary, become familiar with your conscience and work with it. And then extend that process out into your behavior and seek to understand all situations. See the good in all things. Always balance striving and surrendering. And then cease to think of yourself and only focus on the needs of others. If you follow that, and if as you slowly build it up by practicing it, you can be way more happier than now. If you follow that consistently and make it a automatic habit. Because as we make automatic habits and automate them, our consciousness can rise, just like our heart is automated. You know, there used to be a time when, you know, animals or amoebas were consciously trying to get the heartbeat right. Now that we've mastered that through evolution, that's dropped beneath consciousness. Now the consciousness can rise higher to other endeavors. So as we practice daily living and automate it, you know, we can automate our thinking to react positively to every situation. That's what intuition, I feel, is. Intuition is simply very fast processing. It's very fast thinking. So as you become really good at making connections and thinking and meditating, now that process speeds up faster and faster, and then that's what the intuition is. It's, you know, things without really thinking through them fully. It's an automated thought. And so as we automate all these things, then our consciousness rises and we can slowly transcend suffering and become happier. Anyway, I'm Jay Hendricks. This is Powerful Thought Daily. Please like and subscribe and have a good day. Bye.